What? Did that bird just explode? Oh boy, we're back to it again with another Pixar trailer so soon since the last one. Just last week there was the Toy Story 5 teaser trailer, and I guess the Pixar marketing team wanted more YouTube views, so Hoppers is here as well so soon. Very nearly threw me off this one, I just about caught it. Now, this is a movie that's put in a very interesting spot because it is modern day original Pixar movies, which on a recent track record have been very hit or miss. If you have examples like Elemental, it is a fantastically well done immigrant story buried under the strange marketing spin that they gave on the public format that made it seem like the most generic cliche thing. Meanwhile, you then have the recent Elio that went through so much developmental hell that it came out as a generic cliche neutral thing. So where do I stand on this movie? It's complicated. When the first teaser trailer of this movie came out, I really didn't like it. Again, it seems to cover many of the grounds we've seen, with many other animal ensemble casts being done since then. The Pixar version wasn't that different, and I just hated that they referenced Avatar in-universe. So this time around, with an actual extended official trailer, they've thankfully omitted that Avatar line, but it does, in a lot of ways, at least on the marketing front, cover a lot of beats of the original teaser trailer as well. So if you didn't like the jokes the first time, apart from that one that's missing, they just run them again.
Into this. Yes, this into this.
They're really running with that being like I don't know, is it a joke? Is it funny? Is it just a marketing to explain the concept? I didn't like it that much the first time, and I don't like it the second time either, but sure, you know, whatever. I don't think those jokes are very good. I've rambled long enough about it in the teaser. I don't think it's really gonna be a seller, to tell you the truth. But that's not to say that this whole movie is tarnished and gone already, as I actually came into this hoping to find something to praise about it, hoping to be on board eventually, and there is some good to look into with this. There are elements of this movie that I think can be really, really good. Not only does it have some great crew involved in the back end that you would assume means it's going to be a good project, but there are some elements they dive into in what we see on this official trailer that I actually quite like.
Squish us! Why shouldn't we squish one of them?
Oh, I like this. I love the little, I'm just thinking this is just more Bug's Life. This is Bug's Life without the Bug's Life. Like, that's the same skeletal shape as, what was it, Heimlich back in the day? That's sweet. Now we see what it would visually look like. That's cool. Not even photorealistic, but cartoony. I'll take it. Ooh, okay. I like this. So often you see of just animals fighting against humans in general on a small scale, but actually wanting to squish and kill them? Dark, I like it. Let's see some opportunity here. A genuine war versus the humans. I wonder how it will roll out. But that's great opportunity. There are indeed some green flags to this movie that I love where narratively it is considering going. And it's something that in some regards we really haven't seen and I'd like to see explored more. It's very common to have the cliche of an animal ensemble cast fighting against a real estate agent trying to buy up land and take away their habitat. It's not so much been the case of those animals over-extrapolating their war away from a small-scale golf course and onto squishing and killing the human race themselves. Now, I don't know exactly how big they're really going to run with that, since they've only really said squish in general. I don't know if they're actually going to the full scale of the entire human race, or just this nearby environment, or if it is going to do like a B-movie and sue the entire race itself. It's hard to tell exactly where the scale is here, but I love, narratively, where that has the potential to go. Oh, I can get behind this. Like, my skin crawled seeing all of those ants for a second there. Like, genuinely, if every animal came together, this is legitimately like a bigger scale version of A Bug's Life. Instead of all the ants coming together to beat the grasshoppers, it's every animal species under the sun coming together to beat the humans. Oh my god. I love that. That's great. And then just put a teenage girl in the middle of this political drama. That's a solid premise for a story. Why has it taken so many terrible jokes and neutral observations before we actually reach the point where the story shows its head? Oh boy, marketing team. And when you do chuck in just a flawed protagonist into the center of it all, who has to try and bring everybody together in a world where she doesn't feel like she fits, as has been a common thing in original Pixars lately, I think it can come together quite nicely as a decently good, well done narrative. But There is a but amongst all of this. That is a small portion of this 2.5-minute official trailer that I liked. Almost the rest of the things I have to react to and think about with this movie, I dislike again. It's no secret that Pixar original films have been on the back foot. They're disadvantaged in a lot of ways and they've not done well recently. I don't want there to be a million Pixar sequels out of all the IP they've already done. I like the idea of original stories, but in a lot of ways, I just don't think the writing is keeping up, especially against the historic iconography of old Pixar originals. Though I might like some good potential directions of the narrative, assuming they nailed the direction they're even choosing to go. We of course haven't seen that just yet. When it comes to the jokes and the comedy, it's really not for me, and I worry it's not really for anyone.
Laquan, Tamara, Prudence, Pete, Peter.
So I've just gone back on myself to look at this clip again because the time's passed. Again, I'm just like quietly consuming this one. It's not a joke, or if it is, it's not like an original one. The guy knows everybody's names, so he lists them out. It's not like outright negative, this one. It's just boringly neutral. I'm coming in with like a level-headed, like, you know, I'm waiting to be impressed and I'm ready to be positive when I am. This clip's skippable, and all the other clips so far aren't funny.
Yeah, it's crowded.
Okay, so it's crowded. Is that gonna be a thing for the protagonist to solve? How do you deal with overpopulation? Don't do it the human way. I don't know what clip just played for you there, but I can guarantee it was something cliched and generic and the type of thing you've seen before. And maybe that's okay. I am getting old. I'm almost 30. And with it, it means I've seen way too many movies, with this being my literal job, that I, of course, am going to be the kind of critic that thinks everything's a cliche and bunk it down on a few scores because it's not done something truly original for someone who's seen as many movies as me. Low lives. I get it. That's fair. That's fine. But even if that last clip you saw was just of a cliched joke, going beyond that, I also think that the writing isn't modern enough. Like check out this one.
LOL, I mean, Jerry.
LOL. Gosh, I have not heard LOL said out loud in a decade. This movie is written by millennials for millennials. 10 years ago, man. Like, LOL is from the very beginning of, like, the texting social media era of our society. And this is being spoken, and, I would get it if it's, like, that is, you know, an adult in universe, a millennial in universe. This is a teenage girl in 2025. 2026. If she's like 14 years old, she would have been born 2002. No, 2012. That is horrifying. She's not going to be saying LOL. There are so many other text words for laughter, and you've gone for like, oh God. This is like Hotel Transylvania levels of social media literacy, man. I feel both so old and so young watching this movie.
Let's do exactly as we say, Harry.
Oh, I like that. Okay. For one, I wasn't really buying the horror elements of this scene. It's way too sunshiny, and that's a shame. Like, they're not gunning with the lighting. But I do like the eyes reveal. Like, in real life, they've got normal, tiny eyes. Horrifying to see out of context like that. And only when we understand their perspective do they have the big, cartoony eyes. That is solid. That's great. I love that a lot. I don't know if this is maybe me dying on a little bit of a over-the-top red flag of a hill, but this doesn't read to me like for the modern audience. If I'm not the target demographic as a 30-ish-year-old who could potentially have a kid at my age, but not in this economy, and instead the actual target demographic is the kids of the modern day, I don't think this fits for them either. The way that these characters speak, especially the ones meant to represent this very particular younger audience, doesn't seem to actually match with the way they actually think and operate and speak. This feels so much like an older person wrote this, and it doesn't quite fit what I assume is the bill for this movie.
I really don't think we need to go all the way to squish.
Also, I totally didn't notice this the first time through, and even when it was looping in the background. But those birds are also from that one Pixar short. That's sweet, that's nice. They're making like a cinematic universe of animals across Pixar. The caterpillar and butterfly look from Bug's Life, the lizard from the post-credits of Elio, even though that's a reference to this movie itself. The lizard itself is just that lizard meme back in that post-credits. Again, a little dated, but fine. And then yeah, the birds from the For the Birds Pixar short. God, that's hard to say as a sentence. Nice, I like that. Referential material? Good stuff.
That gives us unprecedented access.
I mean, I said this the first time, that it's kind of, like, horrific. The more shots I get of these animatronic animals, the more horrific it gets. I hope they play with the horror. It's probably going to be like a classic, like the marionette puppets from Toy Story 3. Like at one point in the climax, they're going to be running and they're all going to be like debilitated and broken down and demonic. I hope they do that, and I hope they do that well. Weirdly, when Pixar does horror, it's some of the funniest stuff they've done. See, for example, Elio, even recently. Hey there, thank you for making it to the halfway mark of this video. Come subscribe if you haven't already for more animated movie trailers. Very surprised to get 2 Pixar ones in 2 weeks, but we caught it just in time and we'll be catching all of them pretty soon after they come out. So follow along if you're interested. Otherwise, let's get back to the second half of the human-made, thankfully, Pixar's Hoppers. Early Pixar did a lot of like noise humor, and I loved it. There's a lot of times I can remember of just like sounds being the pushed comedy in a script. Is it just because I'm aging out of it? I mean, it could be. I was described as 45 years old in a recent Instagram reel, and I'm not letting that one go. It's fine. At the very least, it's not a screaming goat. At least that meme has finally died in animation and movie media. I just would have thought, why not at least try and be similar to the animal that you are? You know, and then there's a hint of a layer to it? I don't know.
She seems to have become a Joan of Arc type rebel leader.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's one way to describe her, as just entirely somebody else. You could have used all the descriptive language you want in a modern Pixar script with a bunch of talented, hopefully highly paid writers, and you came up with Joan of Arc type rebel leader. Fill in the gaps by what you know about Joan of Arc. Am I reading too many red flags into this? Maybe. I just want one of the best animation studios to stay the best. And I said this a lot during the teaser trailer of this movie too, that it just feels weirdly outdated and a little bit easy. This is a movie I'm going into really hoping to see praises for, because if a movie like this does do really well, then presumably there will be more Pixar originals and they'll get a better weight distribution towards that direction. But from what I'm seeing here, I'm just not impressed. And that's coming from someone who's trying to be impressed. I am a Pixar fanboy, but I'm also a Pixar critic, only because I want them to be the best in the industry. Is that too much to ask? I just want something not generic.
That was intense.
Oh, and they ruined it again. Why? What? That was intense? What is this? A bloody 2013 script? What else are we gonna have to deal with in the screenplay of this movie? He's right behind me, is he? Oh my god. I hate the comedy in this movie. The narrative maybe is fine. I've got an inkling of what it actually is. I hate the jokes. The jokes are just generic cliche entertainment bubbles for the very average person who hasn't seen a movie before. Great for kids. Everyone's first version of that was intense. Damn, man. This movie is a double-edged sword. A couple of nice green flags. So many red, terrible ones. Modern Pixar, man. They just don't have it. And maybe that's just the thing. Maybe this movie's just not for me, and that's fine. It seems to be the case that narratively, it's a little bit simple, it's a little bit standard, it's running a few of the beats we've seen before, but there are some elements that could really go in a nice direction that make it that good classic Pixar original, even if it doesn't nail everything I want it to. But on the comedic front, it is really a movie not for me.
She found the button.
Oh yeah, there was that as well. I reacted the same way in the original teaser trailer, so I'll try not to cover over the same steps too much, but
We're still alive?
That's the next one. Animal gets eaten by a bird flying by. That's... You know, like... I don't mean to be such a critic to Pixar, but this is Pixar. This is the studio that consistently made some of the most creative writing in all of animation. And while Elio turned out like a complete neutral cliche fest because it went through redrafts and developmental hell, still here, it's just the cliche beats. I can at least understand if this is a Disney movie. They are clearly creatively soulless if you hear how Bob Iger talks about content and pushing for generative AI on the Disney Plus service. But I just want not a cliche. For like the second impression of this movie, The only original thing they've done is call out another movie, which is one of the worst decisions I've seen them do. Is that even original? No, probably not. Only the terrible, terrible movies do that, usually. I would be very curious to see if this kind of comedy is fine in general populations. It is quite generic and neutral in a lot of ways. If you're just trying to entertain a neutral audience, maybe it's fine enough. But to me, I just think it's not funny if it's trying to be, or not even a joke if it's supposed to be.
I am clearing the rest of the day. Let's hear it for Mabel!
Again, that's not a joke. That's not that funny. That's not... But it is interesting that they're going to touch on pond rules, the idea that animals don't kill and fight each other when they're all going at the same waterhole. That's a really interesting thing in nature. So it's kind of nice. Explains the bear in the middle of all these prey. I like the idea of the animal council and how they all have little plastic crowns. Don't know exactly if they're going to explore where they got their crowns. It'd be nice to, since one of the jokes references that. I certainly had a theory on my knee-jerk reaction. Doubt they'll do it, but you never know.
The Animal Council has been summoned.
Ooh, I like this. So there's a king of every type of animal? Interesting. The frog ones seems to have a little bit of texture. Is it like literally 3D printed or something? That'd be interesting. Like, they've all gathered horrible microplastics for crowns, which, you know, hits with that environmentalism. I doubt they're going to be touching on 3D printing and microplastics. Still got another 5 years before movie technology keeps up with ours. Probably not even talking about generative AI for another 20 years until they've fully engulfed it, but, you know, whatever. Still, I like the kings of every species thing they got going on here.
How did he get a little crown?
That's your question.
I don't know that one, actually. I was just thinking that myself. I was going to say it earlier. Where's this little crown from? It's not gut-busting or anything like that. But I'm glad they noticed something slightly self-aware enough to make comedy on. Otherwise, this unfortunately looks to be one of those cases where maybe this is not a terrible Pixar original, and that's great. We've already had a recent one, let's cool it off. But I also just don't think this is Pixar cinema either. It's a little bit 50-50. I'm certainly not going to be singing its praises from the rooftops, but maybe I'm just a little bit too cynical and critical. And the end result is going to be a fine Pixar movie, a standard family-friendly piece of entertainment. And hey, it is made by humans, so we've got to give it its flowers for at least being genuine human creativity. It's not had the AI generative slop yet, but when it releases, it might be in short form soon on Disney+.
I'm in the middle of class.
Nice. I didn't realize she was a teacher. That's nice. I like that. And they tactically cut out the Avatar line this time. Good for them. Good for me.
The humans have stolen their last inch of land.
Oh, so this is Over the Hedge? Oh, okay. I think we do actually remember the plot line being about animals taking over like real estate stuff and being a generic cliche. Animals versus human land story. Well, if the benchmark is DreamWorks' Over the Hedge from like 2006, they have admittedly got a high bar to beat. Best of luck to I don't have the most hope. But other than that, I really don't have too much left to say because it's not made that strong of an impression on me. Give me another 6 months for trailer 2 and I'm sure I would have forgotten a lot of the details from this one so far. It's kind of just a little bit over the hedge, a little bit the wild robot, and yes, I guess unfortunately, a little bit Avatar 2. I'm glad it didn't go as awful as it could have done. But otherwise, I just hope it gets more impressive over time, and I stop seeing the same not great jokes to start. For now though, I'd best end it off there. My name's been Daz. Thank you very much for reaching the end of this video. Do tell me your thoughts on Pixar's Hoppers now that we've seen a little bit more of it. Maybe I'm in the minority, and that's absolutely fair. These are just opinions, and everyone's is pretty valid. Just fiction anyway. I'd love to hear all your thoughts and more on it, so let us know down below in the comments. But otherwise, I shall see you all in a little bit. Cheerio. What? Did that bird just explode? Incredible. Now we're coming to the cinema. Thank goodness. Okay, it's just only in the last 20 seconds of the trailer that something good happens. Okay, but no, I like that. That's some solid slapstick over-the-top cartoony violence you want to see. It was probably holding dynamite, wasn't it?
Let's squish the humans!
Wait.
I feel like what is it, a butterfly? That butterfly is massively differently designed to the rest of the animal kingdom. I get it for scale and size and being able to actually see their eyes, but interesting. It's a little jarring. It feels like that alone would be a stop-motion character in the middle of this fuzzy CGI animal movie. I won't complain though. It visually looks nice. Okay, you get what they're going for. If we're not getting A Bug's Life in any other form from Pixar, this is the closest we'll get. Okay, this is nice. I think there's room for something there where they're clearly going to do some fantastical animation things with like what the animals can do. Spitting water out with those little fish. I love it. Great stuff. Nice. Of course, the animation from a modern Pixar movie is going to be pretty damn good. Even if it's not stylistically outstanding and relatively samey, I can get behind that when it wants to throw its things out, you know, make a pinky purple steam air. Nice.
The traditional methods to understand.
Ooh. Wait, how old has she been doing this for? Okay. Interesting.
Doc! Oh, I need your help!
Ugh, God, every time these trailers always have to burst your ears at the beginning. I love consistent trailer editing.
Drive now. Rocket ship.
It's a nice versional prompt of blackmailing, I guess. Again, not a scene that's totally not been done before, but it's nice. Ha. Ha.